So an important point that is integral to us is the aspect of identifying and isolating our positionality in the knowledge industry. And it is important to emphasize that this knowledge industry is the academic industry. So before the podcast revolution, the revolution that got us glued to our cell phones listening to these content creators, different sorts of content creators, the knowledge industry was divided into two categories. And this is what I like to call the old structure. The knowledge industry was divided into two components. One that had a group of people we call knowledge producers, and the other that had a group of people that we call knowledge consumers. The average person, the everyday person, everybody. Knowledge consumers just receive books from libraries, books from bookstores, and they consume the knowledge. Knowledge producers are the ones that literally carry out the work of coming up with something like this. So the relationship was very simple. Knowledge producers have to just write books and get them to libraries, get them to bookstore, and the consumer would just go to a bookstore and buy a copy of the book and put it into their home library. That was the traditional old structure. But with the podcast revolution, this structure was changed to incorporate a different group of people. Now, the knowledge industry looks something like this, which is what I like to call the new structure. What the podcast revolution did was that it simply added a new category, a new group of people in the knowledge industry. And these people are called series producers. So this group of people, which we call series producers, are a recent addition to the knowledge industry. So the knowledge industry, in terms of what I call the new structure, now has knowledge producers, series producers, and knowledge consumers. Knowledge producers are particularly interested in specializing in coming up with stuff like this, which we call books. They are just interested in doing research and writing, doing research and compiling manuscripts that look like this. So they have to spend much of their time doing this work. But now series producers are located in between knowledge producers and knowledge consumers. Series producers are specialized individuals who are in the business of studying carefully the knowledge production chain. So they study very well knowledge producers, and they also study very well knowledge consumers. They are particularly interested in identifying and isolating the interests, the needs, and the requirements of knowledge producers, the interests, the needs, and the requirements of knowledge consumers. And with that understanding, they are able to create structures through which knowledge can be consumed, through which knowledge can be produced and consumed easily. So they are going to create what is called a series that is a collection of books. By creating a collection of books, they are also going to create a collection of interviews with the authors of the books. And they are going to provide that information to the consumer in a structured way. Series producers are active people. They are constantly hunting. They are constantly creating collections. They are constantly looking for latest books that they can organize in structures that can be consumed by the reader in an understandable way. Series producers have specialized skills to identify target audiences. So if they create a collection, they create it knowing exactly the specific audience that is going to consume books in that collection. Knowledge producers cannot be in the business of doing that, because after producing one book, they have to produce another. So much of their time has to be spent producing knowledge. But much of the time for the series producer has to be spent creating collections and series out of latest publications. Readers have less time and they are unable to invest into understanding the sophisticated world of knowledge production, because they are particularly interested in understanding micro-level discourses. They are just buying a single copy. They are just buying 2 or 1 copy in a bookstore. But the series producer is also going to make the work of the reader easy, the work of the researcher easy, by creating collections and series through which researchers and readers are going to consume knowledge.